3 of the old settings that we're working on right now that you'll be seeing coming up here in the next year or two, including some that the fans have been asking for a very long time.
Oh, we're going to talk about that next on Polyhedral Paradice. Get in the library. Welcome to Polyhedral Paradise. I'm Jason. If you're new to the channel and you like the content, please like and subscribe. Maybe share it out to your friends. Enough of that. Let's get right into the Bombshell news. On the last night of D&D Celebration 2020, we were treated to a look inside the future of the game with the panel inside the D&D studio. Now, Liz Shue and Ray Winninger gave us the shock heard round the Underdark when old Winning Winninger made the statement that we're going to stretch the boundaries of D&D by adding more settings to play in, and that there are 3 old settings we were working on, and they're now going to bring them back into the fold and update them into 5e. Holy expletive deleted, mostly because I don't want to cuss in the videos. But before we get into the gravity of that statement and what it means to this old grognard, let's first take a look into the man behind that statement and why he has the gravitas to say such things. Ray Winninger, look how handsome he was. No, wait. Worked for TSR during the heyday of D&D in the 80s through the early 90s. From there, he went on to create the RPG named Underground, in which you play a gene-enhanced super soldier, patriotic, trying to take back your government. Let's see. He would later go on to work for Dragon Magazine, in which he penned the famous column Dungeon Craft. It is a must-read for anybody who wants to dive into creating their own RPG worlds. Seriously. Go check it out. I highly recommend it. I don't leave like right now because you're in the middle of this. But anyway, in that time, he was also co-designer of DC Heroes. Recently, the prodigal son has made his way home, returning to Wizards of the Coast, taking over from Mike Merles as the lead executive producer in charge of D&D Studios at WotC, the DM of all DMs, if you will. That is the skinny on the man making the decisions of the future of Dungeons & Dragons. A straight-up grognard with ties back to the early years. So I guess it should come as no surprise that this man in particular wants to make a concerted effort to bring back no less than 3 classic setting books. But I wouldn't get too happy, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Next thing I want to do is take a look at another big statement that he made. I think it needs a little deciphering, but it's no less interesting. Let's have a look.
And so, coming up here over the next 3 to 5 years, as you say, I think one of the things that you're going to see from D&D is love whom we refer to as our core fans, the people who buy our big, thick books, and those books that I love to break open and I love to sit down and design myself. But I think you're going to see another wave of products that's really designed for people who are interested in D&D, who are interested in that kind of group storytelling experience, but just don't have the time or the inclination to dive as deep into the rules or dive as deep into the material as our products often require. I think you'll see a new wave of products that are aimed at a more casual D&D player, a more mainstream D&D player.
Okay, so now to me this sounds definitively like a return to the all-in-one module format from the early days. See, long ago, before the days of the massive $50 hardcover books, TSR would put out softcover, self-contained adventures called a module. Module meaning that you could pick it up and play it, it's a standalone adventure, or you could plug it into a larger campaign. Some of the larger stories were told across several modules, but for the most part, they came in at under 35 pages or so, and at the time, they barely cracked in double digits in terms of cost. In addition, some of them came with an abridged rules set at the beginning of the adventure and pull-out pre-generated characters in the center of it. In fact, my Lost Island of Castanamra module still has them inside. I'll probably show them to you on screen while this is going on. So I think this is what it sounds like. It's a modern take on the modular. We're getting a similar paperback with a small rule set in front, optimized for individual quests, perfect to draw on the casual fan who does not want to drop an arm and a leg on this hardcover, multi-session adventure book. Couple that with the other announcement about expanding the settings, and it seems like we're about to witness a product explosion like we haven't seen in a long time. A 3-pronged attack to capture the current, former, and on-the-fence type of fans. WotC is swinging for the fences. As an older player who's been a little more than disappointed with the constant cross-promotion of Magic the Gathering and D&D as witnessed in this video, believing that our voice is finally being heard is maybe practically giddy, I guess. But here's where I come back to thinking that maybe we shouldn't get happy just yet. I was going back and forth in the comment section of another video with a viewer named Goyer Gorer, and this person brought up a solid point. With the Sword Coast Adventurers Guide no longer being recognized by the Adventurers League, and with us being told that we're getting an updated of the Vistani for a future book or something dealing with Ravenloft, could it be that we're going to see 2 of those 3 slots already used up by an expanded Ravenloft setting book and a proper Forgotten Realms book? Therefore, just leaving like 1 old setting book, really? I mean, could we be getting lied to and played a little bit at this point? Now, I'd hate to think that was the case, but I can't rule it out as a possibility. But I will say that if Ravenloft was one of those settings, I wouldn't exactly be upset. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Are you hyped? Are you ambivalent? Do you just not care about the old settings? Let's talk about it. Speaking of old settings, as all of you know, if you spent any time here, the obvious setting of choice for me to bring back would be Mystara, hands down. And coming up soon, I sit down with a man who may single-handedly be responsible for the resurrection of the setting for 5th edition. The one and only Mr. Welch, the man responsible for penning the new Mystara's player guide. We are going to go in depth and give all of you who really don't know that much about Mystara a deep look inside of the setting. It's going to be a bit of a crash course, if you will, and then we're going to talk about how he's updated it to modern times. So be on the lookout for that really soon, and be on the lookout for the video on the top 3 most likely and the bottom 3 least likely settings we're going to see, where I can go in a little bit more depth and I can give you my opinion on what we may or may not have in store for us. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. And remember, in the game of life, may you always roll with advantage. Shh.